Okay, so since I'm using Zoom right now, this is what I would exactly do for Outschool. Um, I'm going to share my screen. So I don't know if you guys can see that yet. No, you probably can't. Okay, hold on. So for me, I always minimize my Zoom screen a little bit, and that way when I need to click on the screen I need, I go back to Zoom and I share it. I know that might not make 100% sense right now. I'll make a video about that, but all right, before I even get my students in the classroom, what I do is I get everything ready, and Andrea's here for my student today, which is fantastic. So this is just my little preview. I'm telling you about what I do before I actually teach. So it's like the behind the scenes. Let me stretch you. I like to take my students and stretch them across the top of my screen. So that's what I'm doing right now for Andrea and I. All right, so when I start my class, I always make sure that I'm on my slideshow and I have this slide showing. And then that way, when the kids are coming in and I let them into the Zoom, this is what they first see. So if they don't know me, my name's right here, and then I can kind of like intro them in. All right, so what I'm gonna do, hold on, let me just make sure there's no one else popping in right now. Okay. And if somebody does pop in the middle, it's good because students do that a lot. So I'm gonna do the class the way I would normally with the students, so you guys can see exactly what I do and how I do it. And then at the end of class, I can take any questions or explain things that I did and why I did them. But I'm gonna go into like total teacher mode now. So I'm gonna pretend Andrea is, between a 6 and 10-year-old right now that's in my class. And you can feel free to respond or not respond, whatever, because sometimes children don't respond. So if you want to participate, you totally can. If you don't, that's fine too. But I'm going to go into teacher mode now. So I'm going to pretend I just let Andrea into my classroom. Hello there. Hi, Andrea. It's nice to meet you. My name is Miss Michelle.
Hello.
Hi, how are you today?
Good.
Good. Do you like playing Roblox?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, good. That's so great. I'm so glad. I'm so excited to teach you today how to play the game safely because it's played on the internet, right? So we have to talk about how we can stay safe while we're on the internet. I'm so glad you could come today. So let's go ahead and get started. So the first thing I'm going to do is go over the class rules for today. So right now, Andrea, it's just you and I, but in case one of our other friends pop in, I want to make sure that everybody knows the rules before we start. So my number one rule is that we're respectful. And that just means that when one person's talking, we wait our turn for our chance to talk. And so you could raise your hand like this, or you could use the virtual button or whatever works for you. And once I call on your name, you're able to go ahead and unmute and then you can answer, okay? All right. Oh, I want to make sure everyone can turn on their screen just to pop in. That's an Outschool rule. So I make sure that it's just you and the screen and not anybody else. Okay, great. Everyone popped on their screen. Great. So if you don't want to keep it on, you don't have to. But I do encourage you to keep it on so I can see your faces. And just make sure that when you are done talking that you mute yourself. That way we don't hear any background noise like dogs barking and maybe doorbells and people, right? Because we all live in houses with other people. So sometimes some things can go on. So if you can see on mute, that would be great. And if at any time I ask a question and you don't want to speak, that's okay too. You could shake your head, no, thank you, or you could say like pass. You can use the chat box to answer any questions or tell me that you don't want to answer too. So that's okay as well. If you don't know how to use the chat box, there's a little button at the bottom of your screen for the Zoom, and you can type to me that way. Okay. Thumbs up if you understand the rules, everybody. Fantastic. All right. So we're going to go ahead and move on. I always like to ask everybody my icebreaker question. And my icebreaker question today is, which would you rather? Would you rather have $100 in Robux, or would you rather have unlimited clothes to change your character in? Okay. All right, Alex, I'm going to pretend. Oh, Andrea, go ahead, Andrea. Did you want to answer our question?
Yes. I want to do the roadblocks. $100 sounds awesome.
Yes, then you can buy anything you want in the game, huh? Yeah, pretty exciting for sure. Awesome. So, Andrea, I'm with you. I think I'd take the $100 in Robux too. Definitely fun. You can buy different things in the games to help boost your character. So, yeah, I love that. Okay, great. Thank you, everybody, for answering that question. Okay. All right. So, one of the first things that we're going to talk about, my first set of rules, is actually your family's rules, right? Because we all live in different houses with different families. And so we all have different rules about how to play and when to play. So, what I'm going to do today is I'm going to give you some suggestions that you could go over with your family about different rules, because sometimes parents don't always know everything about Roblox. So they might need some ideas to help you stay safe in the game. And also at the end of class, I'm going to provide a parent guide that's going to have all the information that we talked about today here in class. So don't feel like you have to remember every single thing that we talked about. I'll send that over in the classroom when we're done, okay? All right. So the number one thing that I say that you should talk to your parents is playing at appropriate times. So this might mean maybe when you get home from school, you have to do your homework first, but then you're allowed to go on Roblox. So that could be an okay time. Maybe you're allowed to play for 30 minutes every day, maybe 60 minutes. Maybe on Saturdays, you're allowed to play for 6 hours, right? Everyone's family is different. So Andrea might be allowed to play for 6 hours, and Alex might be only able to play 30 minutes every day. And that's his rule. So everyone's going to have different rules, and that's okay. Just make sure that you know when it's okay for you to be playing the game and not playing when you're supposed to be doing homework or chores. Make sure you don't sneak down in the middle of the night to grab your iPad to play Roblox, right? No, we wouldn't do that. So we want to make sure that we're always playing at the right time. That way we always have the right to be able to go on and play the game. We don't want to lose privilege, right? All right, the next thing we're going to talk about is only playing approved games. So this is where I mentioned how sometimes your parents may not know that there's games on Roblox that could be, scary or maybe violent. So that's why I always talk to you about it and say, if you ever enter a game that feels a little bit scary or kind of makes you feel uncomfortable, that's probably a game that is not approved. So that's when I would say to leave that game and maybe find a different one to play. Even if your best friend is in that game and they're telling you to play, if you don't feel comfortable in there, you should just leave and find another game to play, okay? Because we don't want to be in an uncomfortable game. We're supposed to have fun, right? So we want to make sure that we're always having fun when we're playing. And there's so many other choices for us to play. The next thing we're going to talk about is the chat room use. So there's a chat box in all of the games, and some parents are okay with having it open and some are not. And we're going to talk about those reasons on the next slide about why you should use it or why you don't have to use it. There's different ways for each side. So we're going to talk about that. And then friends, one of the most exciting parts of playing Roblox is that you get to play with your friends in real life. And so you can play with your cousins and your siblings and your neighbors and things like that. But there's also a way for people to friend request you that you're playing with on the internet. And so is it okay for you to accept friend requests from people you don't know? Or is it not okay? And so we're going to talk a little bit more about that as well, of why it would or shouldn't be okay. All right. So the first thing we're going to talk about is the chat box, right? So I always want to say, think before you chat. So if you do have that chat box open, I want you to know that anytime that you put anything in that chat box, you're putting it on the internet. And so that means anybody can have access to it, especially the people in the game. And once you type something there, it can never really be deleted. So you want to be super careful about what you're typing to other people. And maybe just think about how the person reading it might feel before you post that in there. Roblox does have pretty strict rules that you have to use positive, nice language with each other, or they could actually ban you from the game. So just make sure that you're only treating people nicely and treat people the way that you want to be treated. And then you should be all set to use that chat box. Okay. Some good ways to use the chat box is if you're communicating with somebody saying, hey, Andrea, let's meet at the Princess Castle and go play over there. Then she can see me and we can type to each other back and forth. That's a great way to communicate with somebody in the game. A not good idea to message somebody is saying, maybe bad words or no one likes you. We wouldn't type anything like that, right? Because that would not be a nice way to play the game. Another thing that you could use the chat box for is if somebody is bothering you in the game, you could maybe type to them first and ask them to stop. So that's a way that you could do it. So I could type in, hey, Monkey Boy 08, please stop jumping on my head. And then that way I can communicate to that player that I don't like that they're jumping on my head and I'm asking them to stop. So those are all great ways to use the chat box appropriately. Now, something you wouldn't want to do is say something mean or try to draw pictures in there or talk about things that are not Roblox related. Those are all against the rules. And if you do those things, somebody could report you. And then that means you get a little bit of a warning. And if you get reported too many times, you could be banned. But we're going to talk about that a little bit further as we go on. Okay. Now, reporting. Okay. So reporting is something that helps keep everybody safe in the game. If somebody's not following the rules, you can report them. So thumbs up if you knew you could report people in the game. Oh, okay, good. No, some people didn't know, right? So the way to report somebody is when you go to your, when you're on the game, on the top left is that little silver square, right? And when you click on the players button, it's all the people that are playing the same game as you. And you just find that person's name that's not making the good choice. And when you click on it, there'll be a little flag button over here that will let you report that person. And what that means is a little pop-up will come on their screen and it will be Roblox reminding that person to make sure that they're following the rules. Now, if that person has gotten reported a lot of times before that, Roblox could go ahead and ban that person. And that means they are not allowed to play the game. Sometimes it's 3 days or 7 days or 10 days, and sometimes it's forever. Forever. So you have to be super careful that you're following all of the rules because no one wants to be banned forever, right? Then you won't be able to play the game. And we all came here to have fun in the game. So just make sure that you're following all of the rules, okay? All right, the next thing is blocking a user. Who knew that you could block somebody on Roblox? I know some people don't know that they can do this. Okay, so these instructions, like I mentioned, are going to be at the end of the class too. So make sure you don't have to remember them all, but one of the things you could do is the same thing when you're finding that friend in there in your game. When you click on them this time, you want to click those 3 dots up in the corner, and then a menu comes down and you can click block user. Now, this means that that person won't be able to play with you on the game anymore. They won't be able to message you. They won't be able to type to you in the comments, anything like that. And then you wouldn't be able to do that with them either. So this could be a really great option for somebody that's just not following the rules and they're bothering you in the game. So sometimes I like to tell my students, maybe the first thing you could do is report the person if it's really bad. And then the next thing you could do is block them. That way they're getting the warning from Roblox to play the game appropriately, but then they're also getting blocked. So you don't have to worry about seeing that person in the game with you anymore. Okay. Does anyone have questions about reporting or blocking? Okay, great. Well, if you do, you can ask me at the end of class too, if you think of one later. All right. Yes. All right. So we're going to play our game now. And in order to play our game, we're going to use all of our fingers. Okay. So I'm going to ask you, what year do you think Roblox was created? If you think it was 2006, you're going to hold up 1 finger. And if you think it was 2009, you're going to hold up 2 fingers. All right. Let's see. What do we think? Okay. We have some guesses here. All right. Great. Ready? 3, 2, 1. It was actually 2006. I know Roblox has been around for quite some time now. It was actually created as just one game. It was called Dynablocks, and it was just a building game. Now, if you know anything about Roblox today, there's over 40 million games on Roblox to play. I know there's so many games on there. So that's why I tell you that if you're ever feeling uncomfortable, just leave that game and find a new one because there's so many choices out there for you to play from. Okay. So you don't have to play a game that you don't like. Good job, everybody. Okay. You ready for the next one? Who do you think are the creators of Roblox? If you think it was Bella and Sarah, hold up 1 finger. If you think it was David and Eric, hold up 2 fingers. What do we think? All right. We get a couple answers here. Okay. A couple people think David and Eric. All right. Ready? 3, 2, 1. Yes, it was David and Eric. Congratulations. Yes, these 2 creators came together. And like I said, they came together to create one small game. And now it has become this huge thing where people can actually now go on Roblox Studio and create their own Roblox games and put them on there to play. How fantastic is that? And if you're ever interested in doing something like that, I actually have a class on how to build your own Roblox game too. So you can check that out after. And I'd love for you to join me and we can do that together. So awesome. All right. And our last question, this one's going to be a thumbs up or thumbs down question. Are you ready? Should you report somebody who's using bad language on Roblox? Thumbs up if you think yes, and thumbs down if you think no. What do you think? What do you think? Oh, I love seeing all the thumbs up. Great job, guys. Ready? Yes, we want to report somebody if they're using bad language for sure. Now, I don't want you to spend your whole time on the game reporting people because that wouldn't be fun either, right? But if you do see it, it would be very nice if you could report them to Roblox, just so Roblox can remind that person that there's no room for any kind of bad language here. We're here to have fun and play, okay? And remember, just because your brother or sister is bothering you that day, you don't want to report them onto Roblox because it's actually a really serious thing. So you can't do it just if you're mad at somebody. You want to make sure that you're only reporting when they really deserve it, okay? Awesome job, guys. All right. All right. This is one of the most important things that we're going to talk about today, and that's your personal information. You never, ever want to share your personal information with people on the internet, and Roblox is played on the internet. So when you're using that chat box, anyone can kind of come in and see that chat box. So you shouldn't really be telling anyone your full name, how old you are, where you live, your parents' names, your school, any of these things, right? Especially your password to Roblox. I know there's scams going on right now, right? Where someone might say, hey, Andrea, if you give me your password, I'll give you free Roblox. Oh, no, no, no. Nobody is going to give you free money to play in the game. I'm so sorry, but that's just not something that's real. So please don't ever share your password. That is when somebody can hack into your account and then they can mess with it and do things that you don't want them to do. So never, ever share your password with anybody in the game. The only other people that maybe could have it is your parents or whoever signed you up for Roblox to begin with. Those people are okay to have your password, but nobody on the internet, okay? Even me, I don't want to know it, okay? Awesome. Any questions? No? Okay, great. All right, trading is something else that I like to talk about. Now, this is more of just a suggestion. I always just say that if you're going to trade in the game, you just want to be careful because once you trade something, you will not get it back, okay? Because trading means that I give you something and you give me something. And I also say that it is a risk because sometimes people will say they're going to trade something and then they do not, right? So we want to be super careful and just know that it's a risk if you are trading because not everybody is very honest about doing that. So you could maybe just trade with people that you know in real life. Or if you're willing to take the risk, you could trade with people that you don't know. There are games, though, like Adopt Me, that's actually doing great things now. And they're making it so both people have to agree to the trade and show each other what they're trading before the trade takes place. So games like Adopt Me are trying to make it a better place for us to be able to trade and feel good about it. So that's just an option for you if you're interested. But just remember, if you're using Roblox and then you're trading items, it's almost like you're giving them your money, right? So just be careful and know that you're spending real money and then you're giving it to somebody else. If you're okay with that, then totally go for it, okay? If mom and dad don't really know that that's happening, you might want to mention it to them first so that they know that you're trading things back and forth, right? And just remember, it's a risk, okay? All right, awesome. So now I'm going to ask you guys, what are some things that you learned today? What would you do if someone was bothering you on Roblox? Oh, yes, Andrea, go ahead.
You would report them.
Yes, Andrea, I love that answer. Thank you so much. That's a great answer. So yes, you could report them. You could ask them to stop if they're bothering you in the game. You could leave the room. You could report them and you could block them. Yes, these are all great answers for if somebody's bothering you on Roblox, okay? Now, remember when we were talking about friends earlier, if you have not already talked to mom and dad about the friend requests, you want to make sure that you're very clear with them. Are you allowed to accept people or are you not? Because anyone of any age can play Roblox. You could be 4 or 14 or 64 or 84 or 104, right? So just be careful that if you are accepting friends into Roblox, that you want to make sure that it's okay from your parents first, okay? All right, everybody, now we're going to review what we talked about. When playing Roblox, make sure you treat people the way you want to be treated. That's number one rule. If you do this, then you'll probably be okay, right? If someone's using language that's not okay, you should report them if you can. And maybe if you need some help, grab the adult with you and they can help you report that person. And if there's ever an issue in the game that you can't solve, you could leave the game and find a new one. And then that way you don't have to worry about those things, okay? And just remember that not everything that happens in the game actually happens in real life. Okay. So we want to make sure that if we're playing a game, that just because it's happening in the game doesn't mean we would actually do that and that would happen in real life. Okay. All right. And let's see, the games to play. So when I first started playing Roblox, these are some of the games that my daughters were showing me what I should play because they were super fun. So I checked them all out. And these are some of the first ones that I loved to play. And so if anyone wants to share your favorite game right now, definitely go ahead, raise your hand, and we can hear a couple of games that you like to play, or you can type them in the chat box. Okay, great. Yes, I know. And some of us are new here, right? Because some of us are taking this class in order to be able to play Roblox. So this is why I like to put this here to make suggestions for you to start with if you've never played the game before. So everybody, thank you so much for sharing all of your games that you like to play. So that way these newcomers can have some ideas on what to play to get started. Awesome. All right, does anyone have any questions or anything they want to tell me before we go? Oh, yes, Andrea, go ahead.
Does Roblox cost money?
Oh, that's a great question. So when you first are on the game, it does not cost money. You can play Roblox completely free, which is a great, great question, right? But there are options for you to buy what they call Robux. And Robux is when you can actually spend real money to get extras in the game. So maybe you could get an extra like boost, so your character goes faster or jumps higher, or you can buy accessories for your character to wear or to use. So yes, you can use money, but you definitely do not have to use money. You can play the game totally free, which is usually what I do most of the time. Yeah. Great
I
question.
don't have any money, so thank
Yeah.
you.
And you know what? Not a lot of people do. So yeah, you don't have to worry about spending any money at all. Great question. Anybody else have any questions? Okay, awesome. Well, I want to thank you all so much for coming to this class and signing up. I really hope that you learned something new. Don't forget that I'm going to put that parent guide at the end of class in the Outschool classroom so you can have a guide of everything that we talked about here today. And if you're ever interested in playing the game with other kids your own age or myself, I also host classes where we play different games together. And then you have new people that are safe to play with that are from around the world, right? So definitely, if you're interested in playing with me and some other kids your own age, check me out on Outschool and you can join one of those classes with me. I'd love to play with you guys. Yeah. Okay, great. Awesome. Well, thanks again. I hope you have a great rest of your day and I hope to see you again real soon. Bye, everybody. All right, awesome. Okay, so class over. Whew. Now I'm at the 23:49 mark right now. However, if you've noticed, there's a lot of answering and prompting. And so it goes right to the 30 minutes. This is a 30-minute class. So I'm only about 6 minutes off, which isn't bad because that's a lot of the talking periods. And I realized it's not a big deal for this right now because you didn't need to actually take that class, but I did miss a slide, which one of my information was a little bit probably out there because I'm like going through my script, right? But you may have been like, hey, wait a minute, we didn't talk about that. But in my typical class, I do talk about this. So I'm going to go back and just show you. Yeah, see, there it is. I knew I missed a slide. So I always start about talking about things that are real and fake in the game. And so that's what I'm talking about. Just because it happened in real life doesn't mean it happens outside of life. So it's on my review slide because I always make sure I talk about this slide. For some reason, I missed it. But again, I'm kind of glad I missed it because it shows you guys that things are not perfect. Things totally happen. And I just went with it anyways and talked about it anyways. And the kids are not going to call me out on it. Most likely they're not going to be like, hey, you didn't talk about that. So it's still good information for them to know. Just because it happens in the game doesn't mean it happens in real life. Right. So I'm not perfect and the classes still go great. This is one of my most popular classes that people, come on for. So I have like over 300 likes for this class. Like I've had like 300 students take the class. Like it's my most popular one. So all I did before I let you guys ask questions is I made this PowerPoint ahead of time and I use this PowerPoint for every class. So now I'm ready and prepared. So like Andrea and I do VIP Kid. So they kind of give you the curriculum ahead of time. And once you teach it so many times, right, Andrea, you're like, yeah, I got this. Like I don't need to review it every time because you get used to it. So I've just created my own slideshow. So it's the same thing. So I just go through and click the slides every time. And I've made sure that they're interactive by asking questions, making my game slides. And all those is my slides are connected. Actually, let me see if I don't want to stop the share because I want to show you it. I might have to stop the share. Let me see if I want to show you guys something. I think I have to get out of. Andrea, can you still see my screen? No, probably, right?
No.
Okay, hold on. All right, yeah, I want to share it like this. Okay, so for you guys to see, you can see like my slideshow, right? Okay, so my slideshow here, if you see my game slides are way up here, right? So when I click on that answer button, it actually goes to the slides that are way down here because I've connected the slides. So I do have a video about that if you guys have questions, but I like to connect those because then it makes it more interactive, right? I'm clicking on the answer button to go. And then I've actually made, to get back to my regular slide, I click on my own head, my Bitmoji head, and that actually sends me back to the slide. So you can totally make it the way you want it to. But I like this because it's really interactive and it gets the kids talking. So like I said, even though I technically had 6 minutes left, I wouldn't have if it was a class full of kids. But if it was just Andrea and I would have made way more conversation with her and like really build that rapport in the beginning. If I knew I was only going to have one kiddo, just to keep, her going. And then even at the end of class, I've had full conversations and just like, so what are you first excited about playing on Roblox? Like a lot of prompting, right? Just have that conversational talk. So, all right, Andrea, anything strike you for a question right now that I could answer for you? What'd you think? Like, what do you think?
I loved it. So
yeah.
At the end, it makes me want to play.
Yeah.
I'm like, I want to be like, oh, I want to take your next class to play a game with you. That's a great idea.
Good. Thank you. So yeah, if you too, I add those little nuggets and I didn't do that in the beginning. I didn't really know how to do that is like promote myself within the slides. But if you noticed, I did it twice at least, right? So I mentioned to them, hey, if you want to build your own Roblox game, right? I was like, I have a class to teach you how to do that. And like, I kind of threw that in there early so they know. And usually all their faces are like, oh, yeah, I want to do that. And then they sign up for my next class. So that's why I talked to you guys about like promoting yourself within your slides. It's okay to do that as long as you actually have something ready to go. Again, when I first started teaching this class, I did not promote myself at all. I didn't even have another class to take. I didn't even know to say that. I've grown and learned with it, but that's why I'm sharing it with you guys so you can do it faster. And then at the end, I'm like, hey, if you want to, a lot of kids will usually ask me anyways. They're like, hey, wait, do you play? I want to play with you. And so it's easier for me to even say it at the end, but I always throw it in anyways. And I'm like, hey, if you want to play with me or kids your own age from across the world, take my other class where we can play the game together. And I get a lot of bookings for those classes too. Like over the summer, I was having 18 kids come to one class to play Roblox with me. Wow. I literally was playing the game with them, but some of them needed to know like how to play. They wanted to play with other kids. It's a really good social class. So that's where I kind of go when my class listing is all about like the social piece, because a lot of parents, they may only have one kid and they want them to interact with other kids, especially during the pandemic. They didn't have that connection. And some parents just want kids to be able to see kids of different cultures and different backgrounds. So they throw them on there for that. And some parents are working from home and they're just like, dude, you need to go do something because I got to work. Right. So that happens too. Sorry, I'm like yapping. So Andrew, do you have any other?
No, that was brilliant. I loved it.
Thank you.
I honestly I'd heard of the game, but I'd never played it before. Wouldn't even have known how to log on or anything. So
yeah,
being a newbie, I'd want to take your class to learn how to play.
Yeah, I was gonna say, so that's actually another class too. I do have another class that a parent actually asked me, hey, do you have a class on how to play, like all of the tips and tricks? And I was like, oh, yeah, I'll upload that for you. So that's the first thing I did. I got off that class and I was like, how to play Roblox. And that's my other class because some parents don't even know how to get their kids on there. But the kids come home from school and they're like, I want to play Roblox. And the parents like, what is that? I honestly, my kids started playing it before I even know anything about this at all. Actually, yeah, maybe I just tell you a little quick story, the origin of this. My daughter's best friend was playing Roblox and I had no idea what it was. I just figured it was another iPad game, whatever. So my kids have been playing for like months. And then when I started Outschool, I was looking at that newsletter every week. Literally, this is my most popular class and I got it from the newsletter. Parents were requesting Roblox safety. That was the title that they were requesting. So I was like, oh, well, I want my own kids to be safe here too. I should be learning about this anyway. So I got myself together. I did some research. I figured it all out. I'm like, how can these kids stay safe in the game? And just my basic knowledge of being on the internet. I tell them, not to share their information, things like that. So it's like, parents are asking for this. I'm a parent of kids that are playing it. I'm going to put together a slideshow. So I just did. I just whipped it up together. And now, like, this class has probably made me the most money. Like, it's crazy. But I just want people to see, I don't know, maybe I feel like it's so easy because I've just done it so much, but I feel like it's pretty easy, right? Find a subject, research it, make a slideshow, and then bam. I use Google Slides, but you can probably use PowerPoint or anything really. Nearpod is supposed to be a really great one too. I've used it once or twice. It's more interactive because the kids can actually sign into their own, and then they can like interact with you, which is pretty cool. But if you're looking for basics, I say Google Slides. It's free. You get on there, play with it for a little while, and then so like I literally have no other materials. I have a laptop. I ran over to my neighbor's house across the street. That's why my lighting is horrible. I grabbed my laptop and here, like that's all I've done. I've taught my class like this too, actually, with this horrible lighting right here behind, because I'm like, sometimes I just have to run across the street because the contractors are being too loud. So it happens, and it's fine. The kids can see me, they can hear me. It's not the greatest lighting, but I don't let that stop me, right? Like Andrea's background is ideal. She is perfect.
I have a light on me though.
Yeah, you've got your light on you. You've got your background.
Yeah, this is me. It's normal.
No, but you know what I mean? But like, I'm glad that you're on here because you have a great idea of what a background should look like. But if you're just starting, like, do you see what I've got going on here? And it's okay. I've never once had a parent say to me, your lighting is horrible. Like never once. They wouldn't even know the difference anyways. Right. So not that you want to be like rude in that way, but that's not their main concern is if you have a colorful background, it looks much better, but no parent is going to be like, oh, they want the information. They want their kid to get the information. So what you look like is irrelevant really. It's just better to have those things for sure. But I'm hoping this is helpful. I'm hoping that maybe once people see like how I act, that's literally how I do it. Besides skipping that slide, I literally say those things. I say those prompts. I act the same way. I do obviously have more kids that are responding, but even if it was just a one-on-one, like with Andrea, I would have conversed a little bit more, but I don't want to put you on the spot and make you talk about it either. But yeah, like you just interact the best you can. And if for some reason you had to leave class early because you're like struggling to like keep the conversation going, I say 3 minutes or less is okay. I wouldn't really do anything more than 3 minutes, but I've definitely let people go at like 2:57. No one's complaining about that. I've actually had parents come in and being like, are you done class yet? And I'm like, oh, geez, sorry. It's like, it's not even 30 minutes yet. So I always say the 3 minutes early, not too bad. Sometimes you go over. So just maybe leave minutes in between your classes. Or unless you know that you're going to press them to get out of there on time, because I've definitely gone over on classes because some kids like to talk a lot. Sometimes you're like, okay, hold on 1 second. And like, you got to mute them. That's the good ability with Zoom. You can mute the kids, but they can unmute themselves. But I sometimes will mute them and like, okay, hold on, Jamal, hold on 1 second. Let me just finish this and then we'll get to you. Okay, hun. And like, I make them wait till the end. I've had kids want to talk to me so much that I've like, all right, hang on. Why don't you hang on? And I'm going to let everyone else go so that me and you can talk, because some kids want to get out of there. So I'm like, I'll sometimes end it early and then let those couple kids kind of linger. Actually, while I'm on here, I did have once when we were doing our social gaming class, I did have some kiddos ask for me to keep the Zoom on so that they could play the game and still talk in the Zoom and not have me there. Don't do that. Outschool says that we have to end the Zoom first for everybody before we leave. So one of them told me that their teacher let them do that. For your own personal like preference and safety of it, I would not do that, because now that's still being recorded by Outschool and you can't monitor that classroom. So those kids could be talking about things inappropriately. They could be doing anything. I'm not saying that they would, but they could be doing that. And then you're responsible for that class. So I never leave my Zoom until I end it for all kids. I make sure everyone's gone out of the Zoom and then I'll end it for myself. And then I'll like get out of the classroom. Never leave kids in the Zoom unattended. I would not do that. I just want to throw that out there because it happened to me the other day when they asked, like, oh yeah, just keep us in here. I'm like, no. I'm like, oh, sorry, Outschool doesn't let us do that. Once I end the Zoom, it's the end. Sorry. Come join me for another class and we'll hang out again. Prompt them again. So
I do have a question I thought of. How many kids do you try to keep max since you're comfortable with it now? What's your max kids?
yeah. So like I was mentioning over the summer, I would have like 18 kids in one class for the gaming. And for the gaming, it was too much because I let everybody on mute because you're wanting to socialize and interact. So I actually brought it down to 15 and it was better. Even with just that little difference, it was better. And I also started saying more rules ahead of time, being like, hey, I love this conversation. Let's just make sure that we're listening to each other. I did get some parent complaints that their kids were like, it was too much. They couldn't even focus on the game because there was so much talking and so much noise. And I'm like, oh, I got to limit this. So I sometimes kept it at the 15. I think at 1.2, I went down to 10. I felt like 10 was a real good sweet spot for anything that you're having full open social and allowing them to keep all of their mics off. I would say 10 is probably a better idea, maybe 10 to 12. My Roblox safety class, I think I have it capped right now at 8 because there can be a lot of questions and interacting, and I don't want to go over if I'm booking my slots up. So I think for this one, I mostly cap it at 8. And that's a good thing and a bad thing, right? Because if you cap it at 8, then people have to go to your next class. So it's good because it sells out and then they have to go to your next one, which is a good thing. And you don't want to have too much. They always say go by the ages, right? So this class is offered for like kids 6 to 11. So there's that younger age bracket where they don't know the social cues of like, okay, I've talked too much or I'm the only one talking or whatever. So 8, I feel like for that age range is a pretty good amount. Yeah, it kind of depends. If you have older kids, like I have a graphic designing class, I'm like, oh yeah, I can have like 18 kids in there because it's like 14 to 18 years old. So I know the chances of me having someone that's totally socially awkward and inappropriate, like talking wise, is less. But I usually only get like 5 learners for those ones anyways. It's not like huge classes, but that's a good question. Yeah, you kind of have to find your sweet spot. If you're definitely starting out and you're new, maybe 5 kids, just work with the 5, right? Because the thing is too, because I like to put my kids on the top of the screen and you can only fit, I think like 6 evenly across. Otherwise it has to go down on your screen. Then you block out what you're looking at. Now you don't have to look at all the kids at once. I just like to. So like when I'm doing my gaming classes, I don't care because it can take up my whole screen. I don't have a slideshow for that. I just play with them. But yeah, when I'm doing my slideshows, I like to like look at everybody because if they're raising their hand like that and I can't see them, I'm like, oh, I don't like that. I've heard some people have 2 screens going. Like they'll have their Zoom class over here so they can see all the kids and then they'll have the slideshow or like vice versa. And I'm like, oh, it's a little advanced, but you could totally do that, I guess.
Yeah, I was also thinking about if they're young, I mean, nudity and that kind of stuff too, you want to watch for.
Yeah, for sure. Like I feel like keeping it kind of low is good. What was I going to say? Yeah, low numbers. I think the max is like 18 anyways in one. That's why I was like, oh, I'll have max. And I'm like, not quite such a good idea.
Do you only have 45 minutes on the Zoom?
I'm not sure because it's off my website.
Oh, okay.
I think I have a full hour, but
okay. Sure.
I know the regular Zooms. I think if you do Zoom on your own, right, it's only like a 45-minute cap.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe 40.
Yeah, I use Wix website, so like I did like a class session, so it lets me have an hour. I think maybe they must have like a contract with Wix because I pay for Wix, so it must go through Zoom. I don't know. But yeah, we should check in separately too, Andrea.
That's what I was asking.
Yeah, if you're up for it, I can end this and we can go chat.
Okay.
You want to do that?
Yeah, I don't have any other questions. This was awesome. Made me feel more comfortable. Like obviously I have to kind of get used to Google Slides because I haven't made those before. I was like a PowerPoint person, which has been a long time, probably since college, since I've done a PowerPoint, but looks really good and easier than what your mind makes you think it is.
Thank you. Yeah. So that's my thing. I'm like, I was actually talking to my mom. I'm like, maybe if I do a mock class, people will see it and it will be like, oh, that was not that bad. And she's like, yeah, do that. And honestly, Google Slides is very similar to PowerPoint. I find it's pretty, like they walk you through it, right? It's pretty basic. And I think I've offered this slideshow to people. If not, let me know. I can give you guys this exact template and you can use my exact like my exact PowerPoint and just put your information in it. Right. So like, I'm totally open to that if people want to. And then even if you don't like my colors, like you can just go through, it would be more just editable, right? You can just go through and like change all the colors and do whatever you want to do, but at least it's all done for you. Even my interactive ones, keep it the same and just, then at least it's a jumping off point. So you don't have to start from scratch.
And you don't use Canva at all. It's all Google Slides.
I use Canva sometimes to add pictures. Like I think where it says, hi, my name is, I think I got that image off of Google or something. But yeah, no, this like PowerPoint is 100% all PowerPoint stuff. But sometimes I'll take images off of Canva and upload them to the slides.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. Yeah. Cause it's like clip art. Do you remember clip art?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Same thing, but I just use Canva. So like my Bitmoji is actually a Google Chrome add-on. So like I got my Bitmoji lady in there because I have the Chrome thing on top. Oh, I just got new enrollment for Outschool. Sorry. I'm like, yay. Yep. Graphic design, new learners. I love that email. It's the best. Okay. So yeah. The slideshows, I don't necessarily use Canva. I just use what's in there, but you can add like Google Images or Canva or whatever you want.
Okay. That's all I can think of.
Yeah. Cool. All right. I'll end this.
I didn't think of.
All right. I'll end this and I'll message you.
Okay.
All right. Thank you so much for coming to this. So
yeah.
people see it. All right. Bye.
Bye.